Hi, my name is Cameron. I'm a grateful believer in Jesus Christ. I've struggled with chemical dependency for the last 30 years, and through God, He's given me victory over that. I still struggle on the daily with different things, but Thy will be done, and it gets me throughout my day. Kind of a backstory of where I come from. My father, I grew up with him as a preacher. He was ordained when I was 8 years old, I think I was, and that just put a lot of pressure on me through my life. As having a father as a preacher and my mom as a teacher in the school that I went to, so there was a lot of limelight on me. Due to some trauma when I was younger, I don't remember much from the ages of 8 to 13. So I don't really know much about that part of my childhood, but I know that it was good. I didn't need for anything. I didn't want for anything. I didn't search for anything. We were very blessed. When I turned 16, I was in a small high school. I graduated with 94 people. And the biggest surprise of that was Tractor Day. That and prom was the biggest highlights of our school year. So that left, it was in a small country, so that left a lot of room for nothing to do, I guess. We all like to drink and party, and that's just what I did, and that continued on through my adult years. I've been married, divorced, I have 2 kids, I have been homeless, couch surfing, just means anything to have a roof over my head, I guess. And then a lot of dumpster diving for food and clothes. Just the lifestyle that I didn't want to admit was horrible until I finally had to admit that it was enough. I had my daughter taken from me in September 2nd of 2022. I ran a lot of more self-will then because I was mad at God for all that happening. You had to find somewhere to stay. I always thought of it as underneath of a bridge or in a cardboard box behind a store or somewhere back in the woods, and it's not that. It's trying to find a house to go to, somebody who will take you in, a way to pay for the couch or the bed that they give you to sleep in. It's the altercations that come with that. If I don't have what you want or vice versa, then you have to go. Then I have to pack my bags up and try to find that next place to stay so that I wasn't underneath of a bridge. I hadn't had an address I just got an address 30 days ago of my own place now to call home. And I was without that for many, many years, probably 12 years without an address, that I stayed with other people. It didn't matter if it was my ex-husband or my daughter's aunt. And then after that, it just became trying to find the next place. And it's exhausting. It's so exhausting. You paid the means, your food card, or if you had whatever you had, clothes, it didn't matter. People would take that to let you stay on their couch. And sometimes you couldn't get a shower there, so I would go to the local gas station and take my stuff in the bathroom and just wash my face and clean up a little bit, plug my straightener into the outlet next to the sink and get ready in there. Then it's a whole vicious cycle, and it's just not, it's awful. I don't wish it on anybody, and like I said, if anybody is struggling, I just pray that you cry out to the Lord, because He is there, and He does have a purpose and a plan for you, and that it's to prosper. I did a lot of jailhouse prayers in jail. Please, God, get me out of this, and it'll be fine. I swear I won't do this again, and just to be let out and do it all over again. Till finally He said enough's enough, and I just felt that. And July 17th of 2024, I entered New Day Recovery Center. I had felony warrants. The sheriff let me go to rehab on those felony warrants. That's a blessing in itself, because I was facing 11 years in prison. So July 19th is my sober date of 2024, and that's where it all started in New Day. After I got some rest and clarity and was able to start talking to my mom and dad again, I would call them up. I'm like, we're praying for you. God's will, you can do this. Just remember to cry out to Him. And that's what I started doing every day, on my knees. I didn't care if my roommate was in there or not. I was on my knees. I started a grateful book while in that process, and a little prayer right after that. Because if I don't remember what I'm grateful for, then I'll start thinking of things that I don't have. And that just sends me back into self-will. Okay, well, I got to get this, I have to get that. No, I don't. I have to give it to God and let Him do that. And while in New Day, they had Celebrate Recovery come in. And that was it for me. I just found it all right there with Celebrate Recovery, and I continue to go to that to this day. But I didn't know where I was going when I got out of rehab. And I just prayed, God, this is your will. I would like to go to sober living, but I have these felony warrants. What do I do? And He placed me in a sober living home in Niles with a bunch of other women, and I had to turn myself in on those felony warrants. And I did that, and I sat in jail for 12 days, and it was a real blessing, though, to sit there. It was the first time I went in sober, to see all the chaos that I didn't want to belong, and a lot of prayer for other girls, and a lot of what I know I extended out to them. Not that I'm better than anybody, I just know who's on my side through all this, and he's better than all of us. I got out of that on a $90,000 OR bond, went back to sober living, and it's just been a journey, and it's all been God's path, because you don't get out of jail on $90,000 OR bond to go back to sober living. And that 11-year prison sentence ended up turning into 5 months in Eastern Ohio Correctional Center, where I was able to get my peer support and do the training, get my license for that. The whole process of this has just been surrendering my life to God one day at a time. It's His will, not mine, and I have to do my gratefuls. It's just so important to gratefuls of what you have in your life, and not think about what you don't have, because they'll come. Through this whole process, I've had to get a license, which I got today. I've had to get a Social Security card. I've had to just build my whole life up from ground zero. And I know it's God's timing, not mine. And now that I have my license, okay, and now I'm going to need a car. But I prayed, God, that will come when it happens, because with the car comes gas. If it breaks down, then you got insurance, and I'm not ready for that right now. I have a part-time job right behind my house that I absolutely love. I have a background check done for my peer support, waiting for that to come back, and I have 2 amazing job opportunities when that does come to light. So I hit my knees every night and pray and thank God for what He's done for today. And then in the morning, like I said, I do my gratefuls. I read my Celebrate Recovery Bible, my Jesus Calling book. There is hope. If anyone out there is struggling, there is hope. I hope this message crosses a lot of your hearts and changes some of your minds to not be so judgmental. If you do see someone who is struggling, a kind word goes a long way to anyone in any situation, whether it's drugs or alcohol, depression, anxiety, whatever it is. You don't know what those kind words could do for somebody. And I just want to put out there that my favorite Bible verse that I end up tattooing down my arm is Philippians 4:13. I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me, and you can too.